my topic today, is respecting our Islamic holidays, intentionally respecting our Islamic holidays. The important part of that, the reason I'm mentioning this, we are all aware that today is a celebrated day for those who celebrate Easter. We had Good Friday pass. We have a lot of different holidays that are passed, that are synced into our everyday living because we reside in a Christian society, mainly Christian society, right? And not only that, we have holidays that aren't even holidays. So let's start with the fact that the term holiday, right, is derived from what it sounds like. It's derived from a holy day, right? We all know this. And holy day means that the day itself is special because it is connected with something that is holy, right? It is connected somehow with God or some practice that is righteous or holy. And the challenge that we face today is that we take that nomenclature of holiday and we just spread it all over. We say that Thanksgiving is a holiday. It has nothing to do with holiness, right? It has nothing. It's a mark and a point of time, yes, but it's not it's not anything to do with God consciousness. We say Columbus Day is a holiday, right? We don't even want to discuss that the irrelevance of that even being a holiday, right? But these are significant days that our society has determined that we respect and that we celebrate. So much so that they give you a day off of work, right? That they determine that they're going to close all of their stores and go into themselves, and they sell all of these products and food, and they commercialize it. For us, we have to remember and go back to the root of the meaning, which is holiday means a holy day, right? It is a day that is intentionally determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And the reason I'm mentioning this is carrying back to what we were talking about before. It is given a specific date, a specific time, a specific point in our society, in our lives, that is connected with history. It is connected a lot of times with a specific area, which I don't want to go into details because one, it would take a long time trying to explain, try to list off all of the reasons that Allah may have chosen that specific day. And then two, we don't know all the reasons. We're not given all of the reasons as to why Allah chose those days. But what we need to know is that the holiday is a holy day. And these are days specifically chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what are our holidays? So we know in Islam, we have several holidays. And I've listed here just some of our major holidays. So these holidays are the ones that are celebrated throughout the majority of the Muslim community, right? The ones that really cannot be denied. So I have a list right here. We know, of course, Eid al-Ahad, Eid al-Fitr, right? Ramadan. And then within Ramadan, we have Laylatul Qadr, which is the night of power. And then within, before Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Ahad, connected to Eid al-Ahad, we have the day of Arafat. And we also have the 10 days of Hijr, right? Those 10 days prior to Eid al-Ahad, which are very special days. And of course, we have our beautiful day of Jummah, right? That we get every week. So these are holidays that are authenticated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by his prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These are the holidays that we are given. And so what I want us to do is I want us to take a look at these holidays. And number one, I want us to gain a full respect for those holidays, right? The time, the place, the purpose, and the reason, so that we can benefit completely in participating in those holidays. So there's a way. We'll just keep going. I'm not that tech savvy, but we'll keep working from where I am. Okay, so let's talk about numero uno, right? Well, I don't know if we want to give it numero uno. Among the Eids, numero uno, right? Eid ul-Ahad. So everybody, most people know that Eid ul-Ahad is the greater Eid. But it's difficult to tell that to see the results of the people that come out for Eid, right? And you see, I put this quote here that sort of kind of defines the importance of this holiday. This is a quote from Quran, the prayer of Ibrahim, where he says, "Surely my prayer, my service, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death is for Allah, Lord of all the worlds. No partner has he, and I am first among the Muslims." So I'm first among those to submit my complete will. So Eid ul-Ahad, the emphasis of that is that it is the pivotal point. It was the pivotal point where Ibrahim showed his complete submission. His complete submission. We all look at Ibrahim as the first monotheist that, well, we don't look at him like that, but most of the community looks at him. The Jews and the Christians look at him as the first. But he is the one that has completely sacrificed, showed his sacrifice, his will of all of what was important. I mean, we look, the picture there is showing us the Kaaba. This holiday is so important. It is the beginning of the building of that place in which we all direct ourselves when we make salat. This location, that building of that house was done by Ibrahim and his son. The initial location, right? The building of it. Ibrahim, which is the story of it, which we all know, but I'm just going to breeze through it, that Ibrahim was doing so well as a prophet, right? Ibrahim alayhi salam. He prayed for a son to carry on his prophecy, right? Not anything, not to, to help him out but to help him out in pushing the religion and pushing the understanding of La ilaha illallah. And Allah blessed him with that son. And just when his son got to the brinks of full strength, where he was able to really start carrying on and helping out in all manners, physically, spiritually, mentally, he received a inspiration that he was to sacrifice his son. So this point in time, Ibrahim had to sacrifice the very thing to which he loved. And not only sacrificing himself, right? Allah didn't ask him to sacrifice yourself, but to sacrifice your future, the perception of your future, to sacrifice the perception of the future of your mission, right? To make that sacrifice. And the beautiful thing here is that it wasn't just for Ibrahim, right? It was also for his son. His son had to accept the sacrifice because he asked his son, "Hey, I've been told by Allah to sacrifice you." And the son said, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." "Okay, well, if Allah says so, let's get it. Let's get to it." And of course, the story goes that as soon as they were getting ready to process that, Allah told him, "Don't sacrifice him. Sacrifice this ram, this ram." And so that sacrifice became the pivotal point of Eid al-Adha. That is the celebration that we make. One, it is the celebration of two generations committing to sacrifice the thing that is most close to them, and working together in sacrificing all of, whatever is most important to you, whatever you can think of on the top of your head, on the bottom, in the back, whatever, you can sit and think about the most important thing to you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him to sacrifice it. They were willing to take that step just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to, just for the submission to God. And so this celebration emphasizes that, right? Because from that, we also get an opportunity, because it's connected to the Hajj, we get an opportunity to participate and walk those rites if we're actually going on the Hajj, to see to be in the place. Here we go again with the specific location, in the place, to be in the time frame, to walk almost the footsteps that those people walked. Why? So we can really almost travel into time, travel back into time, and be almost in the same place where Prophet Ibrahim was, to try to receive that same energy, right? To try to receive that same focus, that same guidance, and get that similar understanding. That is the focus here. So when we walk, if we're blessed to make the Hajj, we can do that. But if we're not, then we still have within Eid, right? We have the 10 days prior to it, and we have the day of Arafat, which Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he fasted on those days, right? And he would fast all the way the day of Arafat, and when we start the Eid, once they come down from the mountain. So in order for us to really respect the holiday, we have to grab, one, the roots of it, the feel of it, the understanding of it, the importance of that particular day, of that event, of those sequences that occurred, and the fact that what we're really trying to do is put ourselves in that position to connect and attain all of that energy, to be like Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, right? So we've been blessed with this holiday. And so how do we hold that up? How do we reverence? How do we benefit that? Of course, we start with looking at how the Prophet did, right? Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't have, my notes are slipping, but I'm going to use my memory, inshallah. So Prophet Muhammad, he started out for most Eids, for both Eids, he would make a dua before, right? So he'd make a dua the night before the Eid, right? That's one thing he did. The second part is, of course, for both Eids, he would clean himself. The ghusl. I mean, the full, for us, is a shower or a bath. He would clean himself completely, right? For Eid ul-Ahad, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him as well, he did not eat until he took the first bite of the sacrificial animal. And, you know, this just telling what the Prophet, the hadith says that the Prophet did. These are the traditions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. He sacrificed the lamb, he did that. He made the prayer, and then he celebrated. He celebrated. He greeted his people. He greeted the people around. He congratulated everybody on being a part of that celebration, a part of that sacrifice, or a part of that spiritual connection that was going on there. He congratulated, he smiled. He intentionally, this is the important part, intentionally gathered with friends and family, intentionally had fun, right? And promoted the halal fun, right? And keep it halal. He had lots of halal fun. They played music, and most people say that there's a hadith that states that he was laying down with Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, his wife. They were in there, and there were some girls that were playing music, and Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, came in, and he was upset and said, hey, stop all. And the Prophet said, no, he shut that down. Let them play. This Eid, you know, we're celebrating. There is like a mission. It's like an intentional celebration. It's a command to celebrate. So one, the reason that we are slipping on this celebration is because we're not, I'm not saying that everybody's slipping, but we might not. We want to make sure that we are carrying on this tradition by, one, making a connection to Eid ul-Adha, right? Making an understanding. We have to understand the process, where it comes from, what is the purpose and the reasoning. And then we have to really get involved by taking those steps, which in the first 10 days, right? Making that fast, playing closer. It's like a mini Ramadan, right? We want to get involved in that, and then we can feel that connection to that day, to that holiday, to that holy day. So that's Eid ul-Adha. And I see I got to go a little faster because I'm out of time. So the other Eid I got here is Eid al-Fitr. Of course, we say this is the least, the lesser Eid, but we embrace it almost as the bigger Eid, right? And the main reason behind that is because everybody is mandated to fast during the month of Ramadan, right? If you're capable, if you're not sick, if you're not in a way where you can't fast, then it's a mandation. It's a prescription for you. It's mandated for you. It's not optional like the other. So when we all fast, we feel that spiritual fast, that connection with God, and so we can feel that celebration. So we get more people coming out and actually participating in the celebration in it. Eid al-Fitr, which is celebration of breaking the fast. And we know that Fitr also means like the nature, right? So we're coming back to our original nature, right? So we've taken the steps to cleanse ourselves, to focus in on what's important, and now we've returned to our original pure nature, and so we're celebrating that, right? And that celebration is a mandate too. It is mandated that you celebrate 3 days of celebrations of Eid al-Fitr, and some say 4 of Eid al-Ahad, right? So I tell my kids all the time, I say, you know, we got the best of it all, because when it comes to holidays, I'm pretty sure we got all of them beat. Who gets 3 days of celebration, of partying, and for one completion? You know, who gets a holy day every week? You know, so Eid al-Fitr, when it comes to what the Prophet did, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he did quite similar things. The only difference, well, some difference is he actually ate breakfast for Eid al-Fitr. He would get up, you know, take a shower, he'd eat his breakfast. They said he ate dates, and they sort of kind of say that's where the ideal of passing out sweets during Eid al-Fitr comes from. And he would, what I missed in both, in this one and that one, he would get dressed in his most beautiful clothing. So he would dress himself in his most beautiful clothing, and so that he can present himself to Allah in the proper way. And also, you know, when you think about how you get dressed, if you ever put on a suit and tie or something, whenever you clean yourself up, it makes you feel a little different, right? It makes you want to, like if you put on a suit and a tie, and I hate ties, but if you put a tie on, it sort of kind of makes you stand straight up, you know. You get dressed, you ironed up, you don't really want to wrinkle your clothes, you start standing, you behave different, you feel different. You are more, you're more conscious of what you're doing, depending on what you wear. So the celebration, the dressing is a point of making sure you know that this is a day of celebration, but also a remembrance that this is an important day. This is an important day. This is the end of Ramadan, which is, I guess we'll breeze through that, but Ramadan is the day, the month in which Quran was revealed, right? So all of what we know, all of the scripture that is clarified, all of the scripture that came before was revealed during this month. And what do? We read, we study, we fast, we practice restraints, we pray the entire month. And then at this end of this month, we celebrate. It's a mandate that we celebrate those 3 days. We cleanse ourselves, we make our salat, and then we celebrate in the most righteous ways. So that's Eid al-Fitr. And of course, we sort of just talked about this. I wonder if this is blocking in this screen. So we talked about Ramadan. Ramadan is prior to Eid al-Fitr, but Ramadan is all about praying and fasting. It's about connecting. The big difference between Eid al-Fitr and Ramadan and Eid al-Ahad is that Eid al-Fitr and Ramadan is almost a personal development, right? This is a development where nobody knows that you really complete your fast except for you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not a show of who's fasting or not. Nobody knows the struggles that you're having except you. We don't know the challenges that you had throughout your fast, when you had to hold your tongue that moment, or when you were getting ready to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing it and you held back because it was the month of Ramadan. So it becomes almost, and I don't want to say it's just an individual thing, but it's an in-depth uplifting of the individual, right? It's the in-depth uplifting of the individual. We do things together, but it's more focused on that celebration. The Eid ul-Adha is a celebration. It is a coming together of everyone. Hence the Hajj, right? All people from all over the world are coming to this one location to make salat, right? To follow those rituals, to be in those footsteps and of the prophet and those people during that time. So it is one of the reasons that it is the larger of those. It is a coming together of two different generations to celebrate the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan is a little bit different. When we step into those shoes, we start thinking about Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And we think about him going and secluding himself into that cave. And so we sort of think about that. And we think about all of the trials and trials and challenges that he faced, you know, in trying to bring out the deen and in trying to present the Quran, you know. And so we read the Quran with that mindset, and we fast with that mindset. We are cleaning our individual selves. And this is the perfect time. This is the perfect moment. Everything is in line. Why else would they say it, right? Allah tells you that this is the night of power is more powerful than what umpteen nights, you know. It's a specific time, a specific place where if you are submitting your whole self, you will receive those blessings. So when we think like that, we will admire these times, admire the month of Ramadan, and we will reach out and try to become in sync with all of the world, which is submitting at that one point. Okay, and last but not least, Juma. It's a Friday. So we have Fridays every day of the week. And I'm just going to read this narrated hadith. It's narrated by the authority of Abu Labayba bin Abdul Midir. It says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Friday is the chief of days, the greatest day before Allah. It is greater before Allah than the day of Adha and the day of Fitr. It has 5 characteristics. On it, Allah created Adam. On it, Allah sent down Adam to this earth. On it, there is a time during which a person does not ask Allah for anything, but he will give it to him, so long as he does not ask for anything that is forbidden. On it is the hour. The hour will begin. There is no angel who is close to Allah, no heaven, no earth, no wind, no mountain, and no sea that does not fear Friday. And that's through Sahih. So when they mention this, Friday is the day, man. I mean, it's the point in time that Allah has already marked on all of our calendars where we can receive the most beautiful blessings. It is the point when we were sent down on earth, where Adam, our forefather, our father, was sent down on earth. And it is the point, he says here, when the day of judgment will happen. And it says, nothing fears, nothing on earth or in anything does not fear that Friday because of the day of judgment, right? So with this being said, Friday needs to be respected for that moment, that space and time, and for that duty that is demanded of it. A lot of times we sort of kind of blow Fridays off, maybe not even blowing it off. Some of us blow it off completely, right? Some of us say Friday, I don't have time for that. I'll get to it if I get a chance. And some of us will do it, but we have to, right? We're not really there. we can talk about the mandates of Juma, of Friday, being there on time. See, I'm shooting myself right now in the foot. I'm checking myself. So the importance of being there on time, that shows that you respect that moment, that point in time. Again, Juma, wearing your beautiful apparel, right? Making sure you don't come in looking all sloppy, you know, looking unkept. But whatever you have, wear the best of what you have. And all of these things, when you think about it, when you think about Juma, when you think about Ramadan, when you think about Al-Fitr, when you think about Eid al-Ahad, when you think about all of these, a night of power, and the only way to really benefit from these is that you have to intentionally plan. That means you have to make it the holy day that it is, and not just a day, right? And sometimes we get so caught up with all of the other holidays, which they call them, and we have so many things aligned with their holidays, our place of employment, our schools, our education, our commitments. They're all aligned with those holidays. Well, we don't do that on Sunday. Sunday, we don't do anything on Sunday. You know, that's the day the Lord rests. Subhanallah, right? But they don't do anything on Sunday. They, you know, so we have got our calendars from this society. All our watches, our times are set on the holidays or the days that they choose to call holidays. So much so that we sort of kind of push our holy days to the back, right? And that's something that we don't want to do. If you get nothing else from this, I want to make sure that we are aware that these are times, and this is not all of this, is the majority of them, right? These are the ones that majority of the Muslims celebrate. And Juma, I guess it hadn't really hit me how important Juma was. But Juma is it's a beautiful thing. We get to be in that moment, in that time, in that gathering every week. And we need to make sure that we are getting the most out of it. We are respecting it to the utmost, that we are coming in the best of manners, in the manner in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us, and that we are submitting in the best of manners, right, during that time, so that maybe we can get that forgiveness, right? So maybe we can get that thing that we asked for, and maybe we will be protected. So we have to make sure that we are respecting that point and that time of the holy days that have already been lined up for us. They've been set in stone. And how do we do that? One, we do that by doing our research and making sure that we understand the importance of that holiday. So we have to plan. That means that we got to make plans. We got to put it in our schedule. We got to say, oh, Juma is this Thursday. I got to make sure my clothes are ironed tonight. You know, I got to make sure that my schedule is open. You know, I don't do anything between 1 and 2 on Fridays. That's a given. You know, and I have to make sure that I have enough time to get there. And Juma is another day. Like, Juma is not a day of celebration, right? We celebrate his praises, but then we get to go. You go back to work. You know, this is not an all-day function. It's a small, piece of time, just a small point in the day. And can't we be appreciative enough to respect that 1 hour? That 1 hour. So these are small things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us. So we have to make sure that we appreciate the times, and we do that by making sure we do the research. And I want to make sure that we it's known that it's important, especially to push this to our children, right? The Eid al-Fitr. It is a point so that we can understand Eid al-Fitr, and our children can understand Eid al-Fitr. We can understand Eid al-Ahad, and our children can. And that they get to enjoy and embrace that celebration. There's something righteous in that. There's a moment and point where you can benefit from having fun. I mean, what kid would turn that down? So we need to make sure that we push that, those days. And we need to make sure that we push all the holidays, Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Ahad, push the night of power, push, all of the important days of submission, that we make them holy days as they should be. So with that being said, my have done PowerPoint wants to know if there are any preparations that those people who are in this room do to celebrate any one of those holidays. Maybe you have some special tradition or some special manner that you practice that you do to make sure that you're in sync with that time. Or maybe it's a family tradition. So some of these traditions we can pick up, and it might benefit others who are in the room to help them stay focused, right? And I don't know if anybody's going to chime in, but if you do, I would love to hear about it. And I think while I wait, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everything.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam.
Wa alaikum assalam.
As far as preparations go, and I'm not as successful. I'm not as successful as I would like to be, but I always, I love seeing the pictures of the beautiful Eid outfits on social media. And I tell myself every year, someone give me a really nice Eid fit, you know, this year. Just to really, you know, just to show my appreciation and that outward manifestation of that celebration, you know, in my wardrobe. So I don't know. That's one of the things that comes to mind. Just kind of embodying that celebration. So I guess as I'm saying it now, hopefully I'll be successful this year, you know, and and pull off something I haven't done in the past.
And yeah, alhamdulillah, you know, that's a challenge for me as well. And I think we sort of may have fell off because we've been doing a lot of outdoor Eids, right? We were doing Eids that the prayer, it starts and we're in the grass and then we end up, you know, jumping right into the celebration. So sometimes that fit has got a little more casual over time. So yeah, that's a challenge for me too. But I know a lot of actually, you know, only if you don't have it, the best of what you got, you know, whatever you have. It's about, you know, getting ourselves together and respecting that moment in time. Yeah. So I know some people have a tradition, which is also the tradition of the Prophet during Jummah, to recite Surah Al-Kahf, right? It becomes a habit. My wife has really tried to do that for Jummah, which the kids would be like, I know they don't want to hear that, but you know, but reciting that surah prior to it, it gets your mind in sync with the importance of pulling away. We know what Surah Al-Kahf is, the people in the cave. It gets your mind in sync with pulling away from the world for a minute to reboot, you know. So these things they're not given just to be, you know, randomly. They all have reason, you know. So that is a tradition that we're trying to push. And I think we all have the tradition, most of us have the tradition of reading Quran throughout the month of Ramadan, early in the morning. And that is also a tradition followed by Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. That's where we got it from. Yeah.
If can I assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
If I can add, because you mentioned about you know, that's something we're all supposed to do, reading the Quran. But I'm thinking back to when I was a kid, when I was younger, how we would read together as a family, and being, you know, having children that spanned in ages, you know, kind of stair steps, you know, all of us weren't reading at the same time. Obviously, it was almost like a rites of passage too, that you kind of looked forward to. You know, I remember listening to my father and my mom when they would take their turns and they would be reading, and finally, you know, being of the age where we could join in, we could read too. It really did feel like a rites of passage. And I felt like this year when my daughter, you know, she's been reading for a minute now, but just having her to read along with it, it just made me think that with us, that made me feel like, oh, wow, this is almost like a rites of passage. You've joined the ranks of the readers. You're able to read the Quran on your own. So that's kind of a beautiful thing for me. So that's all I wanted to share.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have a similar rights where we do these rounds. It makes it reading easier. We've gotten much better, I guess, because the kids have gotten older. But you do see those pivotal points when a kid used to struggle with it, and then the next year they're just reading. I mean, it's like the best reading class ever. Because if you ever try to read Quran, you can't read it like, you know, you read just a general educational book. You have to take your time and look at each word and read. And so it's actually, I think it would make a wonderful tool for learning how to read for some kids, you know. But yeah, we've seen those milestones too. It's always exciting to see the transition. Yeah. But my point here is that these things are, we want to create them, put them in our culture consistently, you know, and put more emphasis on them by connecting things that remind us of the importance of each one of these holidays and making it a practice, you know, and not being caught up in allowing the society to push that aside, to let us to not, you know, because society, our Islam is a religion of practice, you know. We don't, it's not just, our holidays aren't just kept in the closet, right? These are things that which is why we have Jumu'ah on a weekly basis. These are things that we implement, you know, within our lives. When we fast during the month of Ramadan, we don't stop and go off into the mountain, like, you know, even with, as the prophet did when he was searching for revelation. We're still moving. As a matter of fact, we got brother Imam right now, probably is in the masjid putting in some work. He's still fasting. He's still functioning and thinking about the fast and staying focused, but it becomes an integral part of our lives. And that's the importance of Ramadan. That's the strength of a Ramadan. And that full 30 days, it causes you to reach a whole nother level, going back to your original nature. It changes you. And especially in that moment in time, it causes a change. So putting those things into our lives regularly, and being a reminder of what it is, what our purpose is, especially during the time, especially during that moment, and in sync with all the pulls and the pushes and the energies that affect that moment. So Allah is most merciful. He knows what's important to us, and he knows the specific times that are important to us, and he gives us the opportunity to take advantage of that. Sister Aisha, I see your hand is up.
Hey, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
So you actually making me think of some things that I need to do, right? So I already have on my my work calendar, I have Juma time blocked out. So, you know, inshallah, my intention is to black out more time so that I can be there in person. But when I'm not able to do that, at least folks know that they can't schedule over that, because people have access to that. But what I find myself also doing is, you know, Dora pass, then running up on Asr, trying to catch those things, but to actually put my prayers on there as well, because blocking out that time and having people not schedule within this 10 minutes when I'm in back-to-back meetings, you know, it allows me to do what I know is the most important thing, right? And not to let the things of the world pull me from that, because, you know, that 5 minutes, it gets away from you. And so scheduling that in, I think is an important thing that I'm just thinking about as you're talking about this. So thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that, because that's enough. Those are like mini holidays in themselves, right? Our 5 pillars, our 5 prayers. They're all at specific times for specific reasons. And if we honor those, as opposed to trying to do that Fajr, Asr, whatever, you know, you crush all those prayers together at the end of the night because you didn't make it, which happens sometimes. But when you intentionally plan it, when you put it on your phone, a reminder, right? When you put it in the schedule, the same way you commit to that meeting that you make sure you're on time for, that's the same way we should be committing to those moments and times. And they say that if you are having trouble, the first thing that that you should think about correcting is your prayer. How is your prayer? And if your prayer is all right, then okay. But if you correct your prayer, that's the starting, that's the opening to all the blessings, right? So yeah, there's 5 holidays every day, holy days, holy times, to which we can submit and get the benefits that Allah has placed in that moment in time for us. And we get one every week. We get a whole month during Ramadan. We get the Eids, 4 days, 3 days. We get the night of power. We get Hijr, right? The 10 days of the Hijr, right? We get it's just mercy raining down on us. And ain't nobody even, I don't want to say nobody. A lot of people aren't even paying attention to it. They're not trying to catch these blessings. And then we wonder why it's not going right for us, right? We wonder why the community is not where it's supposed to. There are going to be challenges, but we have to check and make sure that we are following the prescription that Allah has already given us, so that we can receive those mercies. And that starts with respecting those moments in time, respecting the prescription that Allah has given us. Yes. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, assalamualaikum.
Hey, walaikum assalam.
Every Friday, I tend to do this thing where I take 2 or 3 things that I can take out of the khutbah or whatever is given, and I try to think about them while I'm the imam is speaking, and afterwards I try to ingrain those things throughout my week. So maybe it will be something about trying to stay more focused in prayer or what have you, and I'll say, okay, so maybe I'll try to focus more on that while I'm just throughout my day, and just kind of I think it helps me stay focused when I am listening throughout the khutbahs and our Sunday talks, and it's just I guess it's a way to help me focus on what's being said, and it just I find that it helps me kind of redirect myself to our deen. So yeah.
Allah. Thank you very much, Naila. Yes, that intentional approach to whatever holiday or whatever the holy day that you're attending. It's like going to school, huh? It might be a test. So I'm not just here just reading it. And we all know from the Imam Muhammad's community, they used to promote that we bring pen and paper, write it down, be prepared to gain this information. And that's beautiful that you take that information down and you intentionally, right? There's that intention again. You intentionally think about, I know when I go here that Allah's going to drop something on me. And then you intentionally make sure that you're going to mark it down, put it on your book, in your mind, and that you're going to put it into action. MashaAllah. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I think that's the approach that we should take on all of our holy moments, on all of our practices, because there is something to gain. Thank you very much, Naila. That was beautiful. Yeah. I think my family see me out here swimming. I think next time I'm going to mess around and open up breakout rooms for y'all. I'm really scare y'all. Yeah. So I think that's it. I'm not going to pressure anybody else. We're close enough to closeout time. It's 1:55. I just want to thank everybody for attending. I pray that, inshallah, that you got something of a benefit from what was presented here. And again, as always, if there was anything that was done as a mistake or anything that offended you, then I apologize for that. Please forgive me, and I ask for Allah's forgiveness. And if there is anything that came out of a benefit from this, then it is wholly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thank Allah for that, and show your appreciation by staying close to the deen and the prescription that he has given you, inshallah. Thank you guys very much. Love you all. Ramadan Mubarak. Embrace the day, embrace this month, and embrace your holy days that you've been blessed with. Assalamu alaikum.